What currently legal thing do you expect to be illegal in the next 20 years? We're trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty. Seriously, the entire self-spam industry needs to go. Everything from scam calls, please don't donate to your local police association, to those obnoxious political SMS text star. Asterisk, if you don't understand how annoying those are, clearly you don't have an area code in a battleground state. It's a Red Queen's race, however. So you ban them. Now they're in another country. So you ban their numbers. Now they obtain a list of valid numbers and spoof them. So you block them. Now they move on to the next one. No matter what, they will find ways around them. Charities spending less than 5% of the money they are donated to the cause due to big overheads. One of the biggest disappointments was learning how little the Wounded Warrior Project actually spends on veterans. Most goes to overhead, then they donate to other organizations with their own overhead, and lastly they spend just enough on vets to drum up PR to get more donations. Data privacy violations. Hopefully. Depends on where you live. In Europe, GDPR is pretty awesome in this regard. GDPR is amazing in that it's actually been used to punish corporations for privacy breaches while simultaneously being completely useless for protecting the privacy of end users. You have to opt in to tracking and data harvesting now, so companies have started making insanely complex modals with massive accept all buttons on them. Anecdotally, 95% to 98% of all users will click that. Completely manufactured consent there, AMO. We need laws that actually stop this shit. It shouldn't be legal to gather any data outside of access logs without real informed consent. If that completely destroys a given business, even better. If you can't exist without privacy violations, you shouldn't exist. One benefit to GDPR is that an individual has the right written in legislation to ask a company for all data it holds on that person. Not much for privacy, but at least you can know what data they have. You also have a right to be forgotten, but like most GDPR clauses, most companies aren't actually compliant, they just haven't been tested yet. Negative outcome on this: using a VPN to access, say, Netflix from another country. I can see lobbying and corrupt politicians trying to enforce this, even if it would be a total crapshoot to enforce due to the nature of VPNs. Or VPN companies being required to store their logs locally and make them accessible to Big Gov or Big Corp. This is a weirdly optimistic thread. Right? I was experiencing people to be much more dystopian with culture war type stuff. But instead, it's let's stop smoking and stop exploiting children for views on YouTube. Family vlog channels. There's been many instances where families have exposed intimate, inappropriate parts of a child's upbringing, and I wouldn't be surprised if there are legal cases in the future for exploitation or damages. I'd say it will be age restricted, at least since the kids can't consent. My husband runs an ad agency and they do a lot of collaborations with influencers, some of whom have been around since they were really young, were pushed into the business by their parents, or these family/mummy blog situations. He always says in 15 to 20 years, when these kids are adults, we're gonna see some unprecedented court cases of kids basically suing their parents for flaunting them online against their will. Often these influencers, God I hate that word, are making bank, and it would be interesting to see how much of this money actually reaches the kids or is just being spent by the parents. Anyways, we have a total ban of posting images of our kid online because of this. Word. My neighbor has a 7-year-old. I babysit her sometimes and she loves watching this same family so boring shit. Like they all go to an arcade and she watches them play the games. I'm like, there is an actual arcade downtown, you want to actually go? And she's like, no, I don't know how to do it. I'm like, JFC. One time we watched this family make a cake and she would laugh and smile so much when they didn't the stupidest things. I'm like, wow. These people are super famous for filming their kids. I can't imagine what's it like for those kids in school. To be the famous family. That's gonna be rough later in life. Kids shouldn't be famous. I struggle to find one famous kid that wasn't a total mess by 25. My friend says this about his kid, says it doesn't want to do certain things all the time. I want to say this to him, but I don't want to tell a friend how to raise their kid. But this is the internet, so I don't care. Ignore kids when they say shit like that. Children are dumb as fuck. Drag them out to the arcade, they'll love it. They just say no to shit out their comfort zone. And if need be, bribe them to get them to go. No kid can say no to ice cream. Offer to take the kid to get ice cream, then go do something fun. If you try to get them to participate of their own volition, then they're gonna act like a lump. Why not? I want to do nothing all the time too. Gotta be willing to grease those wheels a bit. Edit, this is assuming that you'll do your best not to make the lactose intolerant kids miserable. Get them a rice-based dessert instead. So many social media profiles specifically dedicated to autistic and disabled children and teenagers that are completely offensive, invasive, and infantilizing. This content is dangerous not only from a privacy standpoint, for real, you should not be posting photos or videos of your children at all, but also from a basic human decency standpoint. These kids are gonna grow up with videos of their autistic meltdowns plastered all over the internet with no way to erase or undo it. Not even just that, but so many social media profiles, YouTube and TikTok especially, are dedicated to parents or siblings exploiting their disabled family member for views. It's weird. MultiLevel marketing, a lot more people are seeing these for what they are. I worked as an IT consultant for large e-commerce setups. We're talking contracts at the low end of maybe $50 million plus. Some of the largest customers I worked with were MLMs based in Utah. There was no end to the money. They'd gladly fly in people from across the world to solve an issue, often at last minute, when most other companies would try solve it remotely. They were building systems capable of shipping more product per day than the Amazon warehouse down the road, which made no sense, but they needed it for the growth curve. It was absolutely insane. Some charities are sadly also MLMs. Autism Speaks is a huge example of one that makes my blood boil. I'm a dude with autism myself and it's fucking revolting. Started at a pure place but became a money-hungry cesspool, and the founder's views destroyed that even more. Edit, those who are saying the cancer ribbons are BS, at least they led to something. Avoid the jigsaw icon and blue light symbols at all costs if you truly are a group that wish to help those with autism. It just makes you associate with those heartless bastards. Edit 2, when I said pure place, I meant to help their son. Their views and the execution of the entire charity is what caused it to become the disgusting thing it is today. It's an MLM because of the pyramid scheme style it has in its funding management. MLMs, from my understanding, are just a different form of that. Edit 3, I met with a guy called Adam Harris recently. His organization As I Am is a good one if you're looking for an alternative. Also, thanks for the awards X.